So, handwriting. Now, your examiner or your teacher, they're not supposed to mark you on your handwriting, but the trouble is, if they can't read what you're writing, they can't give you a mark for what you have written. And we all know that grumpy teachers are, harsher markers generally, so you really want your writing to be as legible as possible so that your teacher has as pleasant a reading experience as possible. So let's get right to it. Let's start with your pen grip. When you hold your pen, it should look like this. It should not be like this, or like this, or like this, but like this. Now, believe me, I have seen a lot of pen grips, and I think this is probably the best way to hold a pen ergonomically. You want it balanced between your middle finger and the webbing of your thumb. And these two fingers, your thumb and your pointing finger, are really there just to push the pen along, to guide the pen. When you're writing, you don't want to scrunch your hand up like this, like a fist. You're not going to punch someone. You're not getting in a fight. You're writing a piece of prose. Relax, stretch out your hand, and make sure that all your fingers and your wrist has a full range of movement, and that will ensure that your hand doesn't cramp up in the middle of your very, very long Year 12 VCE exam. When we look at English letters, we can see that it breaks down into the top bit, the middle bit, and the bottom bit. And all three bits should be the same height. So if I'm writing small letters, for example, my A and my B, they should really be roughly the same height, and the top bit of my B should be double, or the same height, but on top. Same goes for a G or any other letters that go down the bottom with a tail. So we can see that this bit and this bit and this bit are all the same height. With capital letters, you've got a little bit more flexibility, but my suggestion is that you just make your capital letters bigger than your smaller letters. Right? It's really hard to tell where the beginning of your sentence is if your writing is like that. Yeah. Imagine if your, writing's not very clear and your capital letters is just as big as your T, as your little t. It's just a recipe for confusion, really. When we're writing smaller, you want your round shapes to be round, and you want them to not be too close together, but not be so far apart either within a word. So what I want to do is, let's say that classic sentence. All right. The quick brown fox jumped. I should be able to draw a line right through the middle of that line, and all my letters, or the body of my letters, should all sit underneath that line. Now, the other thing is, you want the space between your words to be much bigger than the space between your letters. See how hard this sentence is to read. I'm going to write the same thing, but I'm just going to jumble up the spaces. See how hard this bit is to read? Because the spaces between my words are not there. And instead, I've got all these spaces in the middle of my words, and that just makes life really difficult for your reader. And folks, if your teacher's life is just a bit more difficult than it should be, then she or he is going to give you a harsher mark unconsciously.